Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen public hearing. It is Tuesday, June 6, 2023. It is 6:30 p.m. We do have a couple of items, but I do call this public hearing to order. First item is going to be an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 14 parcel 23.2 consisting of approximately 5 acres located at 252 Hollandale Road from an R1 low-density residential zoning district to a R2 medium-density residential zoning district. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on March 28, 2023. If anyone would like to speak about this, podium is open. Just need to come forward, state your name and address.
My name is Joyce Campbell, and I live at 246 Hollandale Road here in Laverne. Indulge me for reading my notes. I want to make sure I don't overlook anything I wanted to say. Please, thank you. I'm here to voice my objections to this proposed rezoning request by the owners of 252 Hollandale Road, which is a 5-acre parcel currently located and zoned in a huge R1 zoning district. I own 6 acres, which abuts this property on the south side, and have lived there for 30 years. All of the properties beyond me, approximately 15 parcels for at least a mile beyond me on the going north, on Hollandale, including 252 Hollandale, consist of parcels all sized in the range of 5 to 10 acres. So from my personal perspective, I offer the following. That entire stretch on the east side of Hollandale Road is not served by the public sewer, but its own private septic sewage systems. 252 Hollandale Road was permitted in 1995 for a septic system for a 3-bedroom house. There are 2 septic line easements attached to that property, which may be compromised should excavation and construction occur along that boundary. In order to provide septic systems for that proposed development, my understanding is that Hollandale Road will have to be excavated to accommodate this attachment to the public sewer system across the street that serves Hollandale Estates. That kind of construction will not only impact access to my property, but can impact the homeowners of Hollandale Estates in close proximity. The owners are proposing building 9 houses in addition to the existing house, should they be granted R2 zoning. Their plan, which was submitted to the Planning Commission, includes constructing a public roadway adjacent to my property line and extending the entire depth of that parcel, which is approximately 845 feet. My property line extends another 130 feet beyond that. I would assume that excavation for that development might likely include blasting, especially toward the rear of the property. Both of our homes sit on a lot of rock, especially in that rear acreage. So I have a concern about any potential damage should blasting have to occur. The magnitude of a construction project that huge will negatively impact the quiet enjoyment of my own home for a long time. And I would assume neighboring homeowners would experience the same inconvenience. Now, from a business perspective, I offered the following. And I'm not telling you anything you don't know about zoning, but as you know, zoning's main purpose is to protect the character of the districts in which properties are located. And as elected officials of Laverne, you have a great responsibility for wisely monitoring the city's controlled growth so that we'll continue to develop a city plan that benefits all the citizens of Laverne. I did attend the community meeting regarding the proposed rezoning for the city, and I really appreciate all the work you have done and are continuing to do. Appreciate it very much. If this rezoning request for one homeowner is granted, I would surely just like to have an explanation for that rationale. At the very least, I would think it could set a precedent for more homeowners on Hollandale Road to request the same consideration, as ultimately zoning impacts property values. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, the podium is open if anyone would like to come and speak on this. Now is the time. Seeing no one else, we're going to move on to number 2, Ordinance 2023-11, an ordinance of the City of Laverne, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Again, the podium is open if anyone would like to speak. Seeing no one, I'm going to move on to the last item, which is Ordinance 2023-14, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 17E, Group B, parcel 22, consisting of approximately 1.6 acres located at 392 Old Nashville Highway from an R1 low-density zoning district to a C3 neighborhood service business district. This has received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on April 25th, 2023. Again, the podium is open if anyone would like to speak. Seeing no one, I'll close out the public forum and we will reconvene at 7 p.m.
But Jake specifically said that the overlays did not pertain to anything but commercial properties. And the individual asked why then were the overlays drawn on the estate residential properties. He said, I have no idea. So later on, with me having been in attendance at several of the meetings, I went over and specifically talked to Bo and about the same conversation. I asked why then are the estate residential properties along Waldron Road from the interstate to Rock Springs Road overlaid. Again, neither had an explanation and said they really had no idea why it had been drawn that way. Therefore, for the record tonight, I'm asking, in order to provide an more accurate map, and that there be no future loopholes, that the estate residential parcels that have the overlays removed before any presentation or final presentation at the public hearing before any vote. Thank you.
And with that, we will close out the citizens forum and reconvene at 7 p.m. Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting. It is June 6, 2023. It is 7 p.m. Call this meeting to order. I will have the prayer tonight, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be with Alderwoman Haas. If everyone would please rise for the prayer and the pledge. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we just ask for your hand to be upon this city, to bless its people, to heal those that need healing, and to forgive us of our sins. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item we have is to approve the minutes from the May 2nd, 2023 regular meeting and the May 8th, 2023 public hearing and special meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 2nd regular meeting and the May 9th public hearing and special meeting.
I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion passes. Moving on to departmental reports. Chief Hatcher with the Police Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. What you have in front of you, what you can see up on the board, is a comparison between May of 2022 and May of 2023. And as you can see, our calls for service have been down. Our arrests were down. Traffic stops were down. DUI arrests were down. Drug-related arrests were down. Citations were down. However, stolen vehicle recoveries were up. Residential burglaries, unfortunately, are still up. Vehicle burglaries are up. And motor vehicle thefts are up. Our domestics are up. It's coming into summertime. That's normal. Still unfortunate, but we'll do the best we can to try and and curb them as best that we can. And we were pretty much status quo on homicides, having 0, overdoses still at 4 with no improvements or deletions on that, and no overdose deaths. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Fire Department, Chief Beasley.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board. I trust that each one of y'all have had an opportunity to review the May report. As you can see, we're right on track exactly where we were this time last year. I don't believe there's anything remarkable within the report other than the amount of gallonage of water that we're still flowing during the annual hydrant testing. That will probably continue through the end of this month and maybe into next month, depends on how much we get complete. I think the only other item that we have is 283 Old Nashville is moving in a positive fashion. And so you're starting to see some blocks being laid and concrete should follow. So,
Seen a few guys out there.
and there's a lot of people on the job site for sure. It's nice to drive by there and stop and see people working.
Absolutely.
Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Parks and Recreation, Mr. David McGowan.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, thank you. You guys have the parks numbers for the month. 74 help desk tickets, 790 man-hours devoted to those. Quite a bit of those hours where you see special projects there, restoring the men's bathroom in the park. The front complex was shut down all of last week. We had a fire in the men's bathroom. So that has been repaired. It probably needs another coat of paint, but everything is up and running in that. June the 5th, the mural was started, scheduled to finish by the 9th. So as far as I know, she is on time. Upcoming events, today the farmers market kicked off, July 4th. You can see our Independence Day celebration. Gates will open at 5:30. Festivities begin at 6 p.m. Bueller will be the band. It's 80s rock cover band. Fireworks at dark. There will be food vendors on site. That's at Veterans Memorial Park, 115 Floyd Mayfield Drive. You see our past events. May 13th, we combined the block party and the touch-a-truck. Huge event for us, great turnout. Saw a bunch of happy kids there that day. We were very excited about that. Couple of trips, past events for the seniors. Chick-fil-A, they had a senior prom. They took a trip on the General Jackson. Upcoming events for the Senior Center, Bell Buckle, June the 7th. Upcoming meetings, Senior Center Advisory, and Park and Rec on June 26th. Any questions?
David, I just wanted to let you know that I spoke with Shermelle.
Yes, sir.
I asked her how Juneteenth was coming along. She said so far so good. Her and Miss Hope is working on finalizing the program this week, so
Yes, sir. And that will take place at the Bicentennial Pavilion here behind City Hall on not the 19th, but the 17th, I believe, that Saturday.
I believe that is correct. Yes, sir.
David, the block party was a big hit. There were a lot of people there. I know the original thought was that it was going to rain that day, but it wound up being blistering hot. And there were a lot of people there having fun, having a good time. I know they loved hitting the horn for the police cruiser that was out there and pulling a couple of the cement truck horns. So
Yes,
it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had a good turnout. I keep trying to tell the vice mayor, he keeps trying to blame the bad weather and the rain on me, and I already told him we're over that hump. So
Well, see,
good
I'm
weather
trying
from here
to,
on out.
I'm trying to psych out Mother Nature.
I like where your head's at. Keep doing it, but hey, you can put the blame on somebody else so if it rains. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Miss Donna with the library.
Mayor, Vice Mayor Aldermen, good evening. We would like to point out the attendance for the month of May, 3,170. That's really high for us, and I would like to explain a little bit. We love for people to come into the library. We still have had our patrons coming in, but BJ's has been using the meeting room for training and orientation. And so they have had approximately 60 people per day training and orientating and getting ready for the opening. So we appreciate them coming to the library. We're glad that we have a facility that they can use. And several of them have signed up for library cards. And so that's a plus for us. You can see that we did have 77 new patron cards in May. We will be closed on Monday, June 19th, in observance of Juneteenth. And I want to give you just a few fun facts about summer reading kickoff on June 3rd. Thank you to all of you who attended. It was a great, great day. We had an attendance of about 700 people. We released 5 butterflies that had been hatched in the library, and I am happy to say that all 5 butterflies were able to fly away. One, it was a real close call there, but it made it and it flew up into the sky. There were approximately 432 hot dogs consumed, and there were way too many happy faces to count. And I'll be giving you more fun facts on June's report. But I do want to talk about altogether now our Summer Reading 2023 that did start on Saturday, June 3rd, and is going through July 15th. We want you to join us for 6 weeks filled with enjoyable and educational programs. Opportunities overflow to win prizes by reading or listening to amazing fiction and nonfiction titles that you can check out at our library. What do you need to get started on this adventure? Come inside the library and be greeted by our friendly and helpful staff to receive a summer reading bag. And there are different bags for various ages, all the way from birth to 99 plus. All you have to do is use your library card to check out books, audiobooks, and DVDs. Follow the directions you will find in your bag and let the adventures begin. We are having a great start to summer reading. Tomorrow we will have Bruce Amato, the magician, at our library at 10 a.m. We have had a firefighter story time, a chalking up the sidewalk time, and then tonight we're having Kids Crafternoon and our first Dungeons and Dragons for teens. So we're off to a really good start. Any questions?
Not a question, but I know I was there with my kids, and they had a ball. It was absolute fun. The splatter paint was a lot of fun for the kids, and all the different activities. You constantly saw people everywhere going in and out. I want to say probably the most popular game over there was your toilet bowl toss.
Yes.
So great job by you and your staff.
Thank you. It takes a village, and that village came through for us on Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. Finance Department, Ms. Tanya Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board. You have the financial summary in front of you. I'm just going to touch some of the highlights. In our general fund, our revenue exceeded expenses by 1.5. In our local sales tax, we were 3.3 above budget and 1.5 above our prior year numbers. State Street Aid, our expenses exceeded revenue by $553,000, and that was the paving that we had to do for Holland Ridge and Bill Stewart, and the board passed a budget amendment in March for that, so that takes care of that. Stormwater expenses exceeded revenue by $61,000. In our water and sewer fund, our revenue exceeded expenses by 8.6. The next page is our balances of our bank accounts. And then you can see on the third page, we have our comparisons to our prior year. Any questions?
One quick question, and this is just an error, I think, in the formatting of the spreadsheet.
Okay.
Under capital overlay, for percentages, it just says div.
Yes. I will make sure that's fixed for next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Water treatment plant, Mr. Danny Campbell.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, I hope you've had the opportunity to review May's monthly report for the water treatment plant. A couple items I'd like to mention. We did send out lead and copper sampling invitation letters in the month of May. We sent out 42 letters to past participants of the sampling. We received 8 responses back. So I'm kind of asking for those who received a letter to send back the survey to us if they can. It's very much appreciated. We have to have at least 30 participants within that survey for the state requirement. And hopefully we can get those back, and then if we need to, distribute the others if need be to other locations that we have on our list. Also, raw water pump 2 is still out of service. We did have on May 2nd, it was reinstalled by Wascon. We got a motor failure alarm. They thought it was an electrical issue with the VFD. Eaton came out, took a look at the VFD, cleared any faults that were there. We were still receiving the alarm. So Wascon's working with their electrician, and we are trying to set up a date for them to come back out and take a look at that so that we can get that back in service. So that will hopefully take place here in the next week or so is what we're hoping for, to get Wascon back out. I know they're pretty busy. Mike's been working with them too, so they're pretty backed up, but we're trying to get them out. We still have our other 3 to 4 high service pumps, so we're still plenty good on those. But any questions?
Can you speak to the brown water complaints?
Yes, sir. So we did have 7 customer complaints. One of them was for brown water coming out of the sinks in the bathroom. When I asked where the location was, it was on Madison Square. The fire department was actually doing their flushing in that area at the time. I asked the customer to flush their lines, kind of run the bathroom faucets for about 5 to 10 minutes, make sure everything comes out. If it was an issue that continued, to give us a call back. I never received a phone call back, so everything was A-okay, kind of like what Chief talked about in the previous BOMA meeting.
Fire for that.
We blame the flushing. Don't worry, we'll take the majority of the blame these next 3 months when we start flushing in from June through the ending of ours. So we'll carry that blame. So it's not Chief's fault or his guys. It'll be ours. You can blame us.
Now, how do you select those 42 customers to send out the?
It's based on the year the home was built, the lead solder, the copper piping, that sort of thing for the lead and copper rule is what it has to meet the requirement for the different tiers of that rule. And every 3 years we're required to take samples. So that's kind of in the works of being changed via EPA and TDEC. But that we won't see those changes until next year. So we're required to take 30 samples every 3 years based on our population.
And as a whole, they're phasing out lead lines both on the municipal side and on customer sides as well.
Yes, without going too far into it, unless Mike wants to speak more to what he has to do, which I highly doubt that at this time. But they are phasing out with the new lead and copper revised rule. So, but it is a requirement.
And you need 30 of those back in order to do what?
Yeah, we're asking permission because what we ask the customer to do is they have to take a sample, a 1 liter sample, and it has to be their first draw sample. So it's the first water used in the morning. It has to sit for 6 to 8 hours overnight. They take a sample, they leave it out on their porch. So we supply the container and everything, but we want to set up that time so we know when to go back out to the location, receive the sample, turn it into the lab.
Any other questions? Thank you, Danny.
All right, thank you.
Moving on to old business. First reading, ordinance 2023-10, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 14, parcel 23.2, consisting of approximately 5 acres located at 252 Hollandale Road, from an R1 low-density residential zoning district to a R2 medium-density residential zoning district. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on March 28, 2023, and a public hearing was held tonight on that. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to deny.
I have a motion to deny from Vice Mayor No. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. Any discussion? Alderman Waldron.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Yes.
Alderwoman Haas.
Yes.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Second reading ordinance 2023-11, an ordinance of the City of Laverne, Tennessee, adopting the annual budget and tax rate for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. And a public hearing was held on this evening. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
Have a
Second on
motion.
discussion.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No, a second from Alderman Waldron. I'll open it up for discussion.
I've looked this budget over, you know, it's a lot of spending. I know when I left 4.5 years ago, I left a lot of money in the kitty, but I'm urging everybody, we need to keep an eye on the road to do with our spending. With a budget of over 31 million and a debt a little over 63 million, you know, the big news on the county, the county's got a debt of 64 million, and they talking about a 15% property increase. We just got to keep an eye on the road, on our spending.
Well, to correct that, the 64 million is as far as with the county, is the deficit, not the debt. They're well over that with their debt. That comes from the prior year's budget, the shortfall there. So,
Because of that,
completely
they're
different.
claiming that they're gonna have to put a 15% property tax increase. We just need to keep an eye on our spending.
Well, our staff, Miss Tanya, Bruce, Kyle, they're keeping a very close eye on our budget, and I know Phyllis has guided our hand for many, many years, and we're very thankful for her on that. So thankfully, we're not in any situation similar to the county of having to do $213 million for schools and then do a property tax increase. So, any other discussion? With that, we have a motion and a second. Alderman Waldron.
Abstain?
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Second reading ordinance 2023-12, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 general fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. Our second. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Motion passes. Second reading ordinance 2023-13, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 stormwater fund budget. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Vice Mayor No. Our second that. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
No.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No. Motion passes. Moving on to the consent agenda. Need a motion to approve or deny.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve from Alderwoman Hobbs. Our second. Alderman Waldron.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Moving on to new business. First reading ordinance 2023-14. An ordinance to amend the City of Laverne zoning ordinance by changing the official zoning map for tax map 17E, Group B, Parcel 22, consisting of approximately 1.16 acres located at 392 Old Nashville Highway, from an R1 low-density residential zoning district to a C3 neighborhood service business district. This received an unfavorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on April 25th, 2023. We did have a public forum on this evening. I'll make a motion to deny. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Hobbs. Alderman Waldron.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye. Aye. Oh, sorry.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Motion passes. First reading ordinance 2023-15, an ordinance to amend the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the order of business and public comment periods at meetings. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. Alderman Waldron.
Abstain.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Motion passes. Resolution 2023-13, a resolution of the City of Laverne to appropriate funds to nonprofit organizations for the fiscal year 2022-2024 fiscal year. I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
A second.
Second from Vice Mayor No. Alderman Waldron.
Abstain.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderman Haas.
Abstain.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Resolution passes. Resolution 2023-14, a resolution to amend the employee handbook. I make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. Does anyone have any questions for our HR director for voting on this? I know he went through a lot with us at workshop. Seeing none, Alderman Waldron.
Yes.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Number 12, motion to award the bid for the construction of the Public Works and Community Development Services Facility. I will make a motion to approve that, awarding to Barron Construction. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Vice Mayor No. Any discussion? Alderman Waldron.
Abstain.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
No.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Next, we have appoint or remove board and committee members. First, we have the Beautification and Arts Advisory Committee. We have one member, Samantha Agee Rourke, who has moved out of state. That would need to be removed from this board. Once removed, we can advertise this position, and we have already received one applicant as well, a Laura Ward. So we need a motion to remove for this.
Motion to remove Samantha Roark.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Second from Alderwoman Hobbs. Alderman Waldron.
Yeah.
Alderwoman Hobbs.
Aye.
Alderwoman Haas.
Aye.
Vice Mayor No.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passed. I will appoint Laura Ward as the applicant we currently have for this position. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Moving on to the Greenway Advisory Committee. We have got two terms that have expired. That's Laura Davidson and Mary Jane Skinner. Both wish to remain on this committee, and we don't have any applicants, so I would appoint both back to the Greenway Advisory Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
Moving on to C, we have got the Laverne Industrial Development Board. We've got one term vacant. Mr. Brent Turner resigned due to him moving outside of the city. I'll make a motion to appoint Graham Coates to that, as he's our current and only applicant. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Alderwoman Haas. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And then last, we've got Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. We've got two terms that are that have expired. That is Felicia Anderson and Rick Autry. Both do wish to remain on this committee, so I would appoint both of them back. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. So moving on to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Waldron.
Again, I want people to check on the elderly. We're in the hot weather. Check on the elderly and make sure your pets has got ample water and shade. And again, I'm gonna ask Bo if he can come up and speak a little bit on the rezoning signs. The last, deal you had was, the water was a little bit muddy. Can you kinda, I guess, make it a little bit more clear?
Yeah, so the city decided to undertake an overhaul of the zoning ordinance to, number one, modernize the entire document. I know I spoke about this last time, but in the 80s and 90s, and even before that, different uses were zoned in different areas of all of these cities. So anywhere you would go just about in the United States, you know, this side of town would be industrial, this side of town would be residential, this side of town would be retail. So the idea now with modern zoning is a mixed-use approach where different uses can coexist in the same building. Different uses can coexist on the same lot, and that's the mixed-use portion of the ordinance. So we don't have a way to do that right now. This new zoning would allow the city a way to do that and attract companies, retailers that want to be in maybe a mixed-use development where there's people that live in the same building or nearby, but right now, that mixed-use zoning's not there. So that's one of the big goals of overhauling it.
Well, the two big questions I got from people said if their property rezoned, their taxes will go up.
You just read my mind. It's the number one question that I got. It's the number one question that Jake got at the library is, are our taxes going up because the zoning map's adopted? And the answer is no, unless you're changing the use on your property. But that's up to the county property assessor to determine that. They're the ones that do the surveys and figure out what's actually going on each parcel. So certainly if you've converted your house or you've gotten rezoned and you're now a commercial business, yes, your taxes would go up, but that has nothing to do with this ordinance being adopted. In Tennessee, you're taxed on the use of the property, you're not taxed on the zoning.
Okay, but if you live in a residential and if it's rezoned commercial, now your taxes will go up.
No, they would have to use that house as business or sell to a company that's gonna build a business there. If you're living in a house, you're gonna continue to live in the same house, even if your zoning changes, so your taxes are not being affected by the zoning.
Okay, what if your house burns down?
If your house burns down, the non-conforming privileges and rights that are currently in the ordinance are carrying over to the new one, so that's not really changing.
Yeah, if your house is residential and it's zoned commercial, if your house is burned down, people worried about they won't be able to rebuild the house.
No, you're still allowed to rebuild the house because that was your house. So I could pick any number. Say that you've lived there for 8 years and a tornado takes the house out and now you're zoned some commercial district, but you've been residential for the 8 years you've lived there. Even if you got rezoned to commercial, you're still allowed to build your house back. And that's a state law. That's not Laverne saying that. This is all 95 counties have that provision. Now, if it sits vacant for a certain amount of time, I believe if it sits vacant for a year, then cities have the power to ask or require that property
I was
owner to
thinking
change.
if it was non-use for 6 months.
Yeah, there is a time period in there that if it sits idle and nobody's doing anything, no active construction to rebuild the house, then they could run the risk. But that's in there now. That's not a new.
So you're saying if you're residential and if the city rezoned it commercial, you're still paying residential tax?
Correct, because the use is still residential.
If your house burns down, you can rebuild your house?
Correct.
Within 6 months?
Within, I would have to check, it's either 6 or 12, within a reasonable amount of time.
Well, that's the two main questions I was asked.
Yeah, taxes are not affected by this zoning change. I think that, I mentioned last time about some of the old terminology, which, yeah, you've already heard about. Nobody's getting their TVs
Well, at least we
fixed
got it
anymore.
on record, so if we have to come back and check it, it's on record.
Yeah, tell them to come after me.
Come after you.
I'll give you all my details so they can reach me.
Call Bo. All right, thank you, Bo.
Okay, and let me know if you have any other questions. Thank you.
That's all I got.
Alderwoman Hobbs?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you again to Miss Donna for an excellent time at the summer reading kickoff on Saturday. Program was very well put together, so thank you, Donna. Please make note the Great Tennessee Air Show is in town this weekend with several road closures affecting the area starting on Thursday through Sunday. The Laverne Police Department has more information on the road closures on their social media Facebook site. Reminder again to those enjoying the lake this weekend, please remember to wear your life jacket, stay hydrated, and stay safe out there. And again, I'd like the recorder to make note that I've requested the mayor's hire fire authority to be added to tonight's agenda for discussion. And once again, it's been removed by the mayor. Thank you.
Alderwoman Haas.
I would just like to say that there was an awesome baseball tournament out at the park this weekend. Both quads were packed with people all day long, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning till past 8:30 both days. The Parks and Rec, they did an awesome job keeping the place clean, the trash picked up and the bathrooms cleaned up. We received several compliments about how clean the facility was and that they're looking forward to coming back next year. So thank you to the city and thank you to the Parks and Rec Department for the good job that they do.
Vice Mayor No.
BJ's.
You're stealing his thunder.
I'm stealing your thunder.
No, cool.
14th, so go get your card because it's going to be crazy. And I just want to say that I'm very glad that we passed this budget thing. This is my 5th year of being involved. The mayor, Bruce, Kyle, Tanya, Phyllis, everybody was involved, did a great job. And it's always a good thing to get that out of the way. So great job, and as Alderwoman Hobbs said, the air show this weekend, so get them Xanax out for your animals. That's it.
Well, first I want to remind everybody about our Independence Day celebration. It will be a great time at our Veterans Memorial Park. David and his team always put together a great show, and we look forward to the music and fireworks. Bring your tent, enjoy the food trucks, should be a lot of fun. Want to remind everyone about the special census that has kicked off. The city is undertaking a special census. You can see information on our website, out on signs, out in the community, on our social media. So far, we've had right around 500 people already submit. This is trying to get updated numbers for our overall census. That helps us in multiple ways, whether it's the state shared portion of sales tax, whether it is for economic development. It helps us in the long term, helps us with planning. So please make sure to take a few moments and fill that out. You can fill it out online. There will be some mail coming to your door about it, and then eventually there will be some people out door knocking, and I would assume we would have some people out at different events as well. The zoning ordinance meetings were definitely a wonderful thing. Ms. Donna, thank you to you and your staff for allowing that over at the library. I was over at a couple of those meetings, even one right off of a plane, so getting over there, talked to many people. Zoning ordinance is basically modernizing our zoning, and we have a currently 33-year-old document that governs all of our building for the entire city. This modernizes it, as well as it de-densifies it. It's less density as a whole for the city. So to me, that's a good thing. I look forward to next month when we will get the feedback compiled, delivered to us so that we can see if this needs to go back to the Planning Commission or not. So I'll definitely look forward to that. The air show, as Alderwoman Hobbs and Vice Mayor both mentioned, is this weekend. There will probably be a lot of traffic and police presence in the afternoons on Jones Mill Road and Fergus and Murfreesboro Road and Fergus. So please be patient. If you normally go out that way, please look at some of the other spots as there may be delays with that. And then as Vice Mayor No mentioned, BJ's Wholesale does open up on the 14th to the public. The 13th, we will have the ribbon cutting. As a whole, as a city, we are very excited, and personally, I am extremely excited about this. Our economic team met with them December of 2019 before the world shut down for COVID. And we go from that time frame to a ribbon cutting. That is a wonderful achievement for Tom Broker and his team. So definitely want to thank them for all the hard work and staff's hard work. I know Kyle, Gary, Bo, everybody's been working together to get to the point where this is ready for an opening. And then last, I just want to address the budget, and I personally want to thank Bruce Richardson and the rest of the staff, including our capital panel, who spent many days, many hours beyond what the board spent going through the budget, compiling it, putting it together in a way that benefits this community but does not overtax our population. So thank you to everybody who took the time out. And I do mean that, Bruce. Thank you for everything. We appreciate you.
I don't think he thinks you mean it.
I do.
He's smiling.
So, thank you. With that, I call this meeting adjourned.